Okay, guys, so phrase 2 from the Kempo Hakku of the Bubishi, the circulatory system of the body is similar to the cycle of the moon and the sun. Now, the comments we've had, bang on point, you know. There's a lot condensed into this one phrase or this one line. Each of these phrases within the Bubishi, and the Bubishi in itself is like, if you take a great massive subject and condense it and compact it, that's the Bubishi. And that in particular is the meaning behind these short poems that you find littered throughout Chinese martial arts. You know, it'll be a set of maybe 4 to 8 kanji characters, but within that, each one extrapolates into various, a massive web of interconnected ideas. So within the first line of the Bubishi, you saw how, you know, we expanded that a little bit to encompass certain elements of Kiko, certain elements of Fajing or Hakke, how to project energy, how to elicit force within our Sanchin using our Goju-Ryu structures. Within this secondary technique, we have, again, different interpretations dependent upon what your focus is at that time or even within that one sentence. So circulatory system of blood. Now, blood and chi within Chinese martial arts and Chinese medicine, they're kind of interchangeable. You know, they kind of encompass the same idea. You know, without the movement of blood, there is no movement of chi. Without the movement of chi, there is no movement of blood. So they're in effect one and the same. You could even argue the same in the case of air, you know, oxygen. So when we look at the circulatory system of the body, again, to draw upon, as you guys mentioned, other elements of the Bubishi relating to the practice of Chinese medicine. So if we're looking at it from a health perspective, how those different meridians of the body, how these different channels of the body either become active or passive, dependent upon the time of the day. Now, if we look at the cycle of the moon, we don't have, you know, on and off. We don't have full moon and we don't have like no moon, right? There's interchangeability throughout the course of that cycle of the moon. So you go through waxing and waning and full and half and all this business. The same is true of the channels of the body. So they're never on or off as such. You know, there's an element of fullness and there's an element of decreasing. So there's a changeability within that, within the points. So it's not to say when you look at the study of vital points and the Dinmak or the Kyusho or whatever it might be, it's not like, you know, if you use that point at the wrong time of day, it's not going to work. It will have a amplified effect if you use it at the correct time of the day. As to the actual science of that, or the actual feasibility of it working, I'll leave that up to you guys. You know, you could probably tell my thoughts on the subject, but that's at least the theory behind it and how it was understood at that time and how the art was approached, should we say, at the more higher levels, the more intellectual levels of the art. You know, if we take it down to ground basics of, you know, in the trenches, hey man, look, we're just going to hit where it hurts, okay? We're going to hit that point hard with the appropriate tool for the job. So that's as scientific as I'm willing to get on that. But, you know, the studies is as deep as you want it to be. Now, if we look again, we look at a different angle with regard to the motion of breath and the motion of chi within a breath cycle, or within a day cycle. So we have obviously the sun and the moon move at different paces. We have, you know, the sun, the earth more particularly, but, you know, with regards to how we're looking at it, the sun makes a lap each day, right? Now the moon makes a lap each month. So we have 2 different speeds working at different times. Now the same is true of the body. So we have, you know, within an inhale and an exhale breath, we have a small circulation. We have a down here, we have an up here, we have a down here, we have an up here. Within a bigger circulation, so this one might relate to the sun, and then the one relating to the moon might be how it now encompasses the whole, to the fingertips, to the toes, and even beyond. If we're talking about 3 tanden, we can expand that to 6 tanden. You know, where we're talking about uppers and lower levels, projecting beyond the body, backwards and forwards, up and down. So we have small circulation, we have grand circulation, again relating to the sun and the moon. If we take that outside of the realms of a day, well, now we talk about seasons. And, you know, winter at the moment, I've got up early this morning, I've done my ice bath, I did my sanchin to try and then reheat the body, get the internal fire going, and, you know, try and burn off the water that's on my skin so that I'm dry after I've done my sanchin. That's a little game I'm playing at the moment, which I'm enjoying. And for the most part, you know, I'm able to burn off that water within one sanchin. So again, if we look at seasons and how that interplays with the body, how again the circular system, so we have a mini cycle of the sun on a daily basis, and then we have a grand cycle of the sun on a macro basis, whereby now we're talking about seasons. And we can go even greater than that, and we can talk about climate change and all this other shit that has a cyclical nature again, but that's going to be outside the realms of what we're talking about today. But again, if we look at the difference between a day cycle of the sun and we look at a yearly cycle of the sun, which then encompasses seasons. So we have, again, a change in the body and a change in the energy of the body. And when I say energy, don't get too mystical about this, you know, think of it in regards to a natural cycle. So now we're coming up to the cold part of winter for us in England. You know, this is a time of stillness, of contracting, of gathering in and basically holding position. So it's a potentiation of energy. We are conserving. If we look at this in terms of martial strategy, there'll be times when you're fighting where you're going to have to just cover up and, you know, hang in there. That's the spirit of winter. Now, once that opponent's attack starts to wane, well, now we have that potentiation now coming forward. We have that growth. We have that energetic expansion. Well, that's springtime. So we'll find after that period of closing in, well, now we're ready to move forward. So that's with regards to springtime. Summer's where we're at our most vibrant. Now in terms of that attack, now we're putting it on the opponent, we've got him pinned in the corner, we're pressing forward with our attack. That's our summertime. With regards to our energy and our training, summertime we're going to be at our peak, but we've got to be careful when we're at our peak, because there's a very good chance that we can sometimes overreach and we can burn ourselves out a little bit, leaving us depleted. That's the energy of summertime. We're at our peak, but there's that potential of overreach. There's that potential of burnout. So again, we need that spirit of winter within that opposite of that sun and the moon, in order to, you know, just rein us in a little bit and let's pay attention to our health and pay attention to our physical energy. After now we need to think about now gathering again. We need to now pause a little bit and assess what we've done. Has it had an effect? Where's the next opening? What do I need to do? Do I need to offline? Do I need to change strategy or whatever it might be? Well, that's the spirit of autumn. That's that spirit of now, okay, let's calm down. Let's see what's just happened. And now let's get ready, because he's going to be coming forward again. We know winter's coming, right? So this is the spirit of energetic interchange if we talk about the grand circulation of the sun with regards to seasons, etc. So that's, you know, that's kind of like a real whistle-stop tour of what that means to me, you know, with regard to the circulatory system of the blood and the circulation of the sun and the moon. Ultimately, what we're talking about is energetic exchange. And if we can look at it from a tactical standpoint, we can look at it from a health standpoint, we can look at it from an energetic standpoint, or I think where most people's minds immediately go because of the contents elsewhere in the Bubishi is more along the lines of the Q show and that kind of thing, which I personally think has limited application if you compare it to the other stuff that we've spoken about. So that's just a few of my thoughts on that. And again, each of these different sections of what we've discussed today, you know, you can really go off and go really more in depth on that particular thing and take that as far as you want to go. But for me, that's really the four major elements that I see personally in relation to this very, very short and somewhat, somewhat mystical, not mystical, but, you know, secretive text where it's obscure, should we say. Anyway, that's just some of my thoughts. Let me know what you think on that, if that resonates with what you've put down. The comments, by the way, like, you guys had all this covered, you know. So I knew you would do. That's why I wanted to put that out there for you. But maybe we'll play this game for each of the phrases. We'll see what it means to you. and then we'll riff off of that and we'll go a little bit more in depth. But if you want any more on anything that I've presented today, just let me know in the comments and we can expand upon that and discuss that further. Okay guys, have a great day.